Wall Street Memes Casino.
I'm fine.
And Sportsbook.
This is Joe Pugh for IFLTV.
I'm ready.
Well,
I'm ready.
Okay, we are at the Grand Arrivals. Thomas Treiber is just starting.
They're doing a run through, I think.
Gareth, this is the first official real day where we get to see all the fighters come out and do their thing, say hello, but it feels like it's really kicking off now, doesn't it?
There's something grand about it, Joe. It's almost overwhelming when you walk in here tonight. You've been at a few of these events. They get bigger and bigger and bigger. It needs to be big. This is an enormous event involving two great heavyweights, the best two of the era. There's a lot to be decided on Saturday night, and they haven't left a stone unturned in what they're doing to present this in the way they're wanting to do it. I think it's amazing. It makes the hairs on your neck stand up, doesn't it? It's going to be big tonight. I mean, I think Tyson Fury is going to be quite lit tonight. I think USYK is on the, I'm keeping it calm, I'm keeping my team calm. The entourages are bigger than I've ever seen before. It's about 50 of them if you put all of them together. Drama yesterday. And obviously I did an interview with John Fury in today's Telegraph.
I do want to talk to you about that, but before that, obviously 24 hours has passed now since whatever you call it, the brawl, the clash, the collision. So now the dust has settled.
The fracas, the brouhaha, the headbutts.
Yeah, so now 24 hours have passed, the dust has settled. What have you made of everything that's been written? What have you made about the reception and the backlash, shall we say?
Well, I think there's been a lot of unhappiness in some sections of the media. They've all made apologies to each other over what's happened. I think John probably regrets the headbutt, but he always says, I do think it's the reason when I'm antagonised. We've all watched the videos. Thought Stanislav Stepchuk, well done getting his name yesterday for everyone, by the way. Took it very well. It was a brilliantly disgraceful way of starting the week, if you know what I mean. It generated world headlines. It was always going to be with dozens of cameras in there and hundreds of journalists in 25 square meters. So that was always going to happen. It was always going to get international headlines. I think John's very, very passionate about what he does. He loses himself when Tommy or Tyson are fighting, and then he's the calmest man in the room half an hour later, and that's John, and we've got to know him like that. To the outside world, it might seem very odd, but we've seen him passionate like that many times. Headbutting the perfect screen. Do you remember at the KSI Tommy fight? Trying to punch through the screen. Going after David Hay at times. Just always lit when his sons are fighting. And he's very passionate and he can't stop himself.
Yeah, I want to ask you about the article you wrote in the Telegraph. I urge anybody to go out and read it. I've just read it, and great piece. Something that I got from that, the word passion, because he's at the heart of it all, a passionate man, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and I think he's someone that doesn't care when he's in that mode what people think of him, or he's going to just deliver what he thinks. And as he says, you know, money, keeping up with the Joneses is not my forte. Having a big house or a fancy car. I've got my old Mercedes from 1992, and he lives the country ways when he's on his own. He lives off the land, and he's got a lot of old wisdom about him, John. I wanted to pick that about him as well, and the hard life he'd had growing up. 4 large sons and his mum and dad in an 18-foot by 6-foot caravan. That's what he grew up in. Born in Ireland. His father had come over here. John had a 13-fight career. A lot of bare-knuckle fights as well. He's a tough guy. Look, he's 59, he's 60 this month. 60 in a couple of weeks' time. He can't help himself at times. I think you have to be a little bit careful about what you do out here in that respect, but in a way, it lit up fight week and drew a lot of attention. Some people wondered if it was deliberate, the fracas between the teams, but I really don't think it was, not to that extent. But I just tried to present a balanced picture of the kind of rather like Tyson is. Tyson's a lot of nuances. John's the same. You know, they change. And so I just thought I gave a fair account after him probably getting hammered by a lot of people after what happened yesterday.
Something that I didn't know, what I found out, 10 generations of bare knuckle fighters. So when everything's said and done, we know the likes of kind of Tyson, Tommy, John, but at the root of it, they are a fighting family, aren't they?
The Furies and the Burtons, they go back, and I think and the Gormans, they come from that side as well. So look, John is just a very proud man who wears his heart on his sleeve, and that's what he talked about in that interview, how he can't stop himself and he'll never change. Sometimes he's apologetic about things he's done. He said he had regrets about some things he's done in his life, but he's kind of admitting that he's got a short fuse, and his dad always said to him, "You've got too short a fuse," and he said, "I have to bite my lip every day of my life because of things that are going on." So listen, I consider myself a friend of John's and him to be a friend of mine, and for all the criticism he was heaped on him yesterday, I do understand where he's coming from. I didn't want him to do what happened, but he deals with it in his own way. I don't think he's proud of himself for doing some of those things, but he knows he's a certain way, you know?
Can you understand the criticism? Because if you look online, you look at certain articles that was published today, the criticism runs deep.
I don't know, but it was a brutal act. It was a brutal act. It was unnecessary, but in his mind, it was laying down. He snapped, and he was laying down, "I'm here to protect my sons no matter what, and I will fight for my son, I will die on this spot," and that is what he's like.
But when you look at all the fracas in Vegas over the years, just everything, this has got to be up there, isn't it?
I remember writing in yesterday's Telegraph about when Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis had a fracas, and Mike Tyson ended up biting Lennox Lewis's leg in the melee. He was fined 280 grand for that, by the way, and the fight was delayed 6 months and moved. It was in the Hudson Theatre in New York. It was meant to happen in Vegas, and it was moved to Memphis, of course, as you'll recall. And then Lewis obviously beat Mike Tyson by 8th-round KO. So fascinating, really, fascinating.
Just finally, Gareth, because I know we are going to catch up with you throughout the week, but what do you think we are going to expect today? Do you think we can expect anything like yesterday or anything of that ilk?
Just a bit of a show. A bit of a show tonight. It's the grandest of grand arrivals. It's got you've been there when they roll up at the MGM and they do the grand arrivals. They roll up in cars. And there's a big crowd, and they fill the lobby, and they create a lot of drama and a lot of noise, and that's what this is tonight. But it's right in the heart of Saudi Arabia.
Excellent, Gareth. Thank you very much for speaking to IFLTV. I'll speak to you soon, mate. Cheers. Thank you very much.
Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.